Last week was a fantastic week for our country. We had the inauguration of STIC 25. The Honorable Prime Minister was there, and he inaugurated the Viksit Bharat program for 2047. Also announcing a 1 lakh crore R&D fund for the private sector. It's a fund that will be given to the private sector based on projects with a 50-year moratorium. So 1 lakh crores for 50 years would be many lakh crores in that time frame, and that will just bring up, almost bubble up, all the energy of our scientists, entrepreneurs, and engineers who want to make things happen. Second, ISRO launched on November 2nd the satellite CMS-03, also known as the GSAT-7R, the launch vehicle LVM-3M5, which was India's most powerful rocket, nicknamed Bahubali. Launch site was the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The weight of the satellite was 4,410 kilograms, never done before. And the purpose was military communication satellite for the Indian Navy. The Indian Army exercise Trishul, which is the tri-services exercise from 30th October to 13th November. Location Rajasthan, Gujarat, Creek and desert sections, Northern Asian, Arabian Sea. Participants, Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. This is the first time, I think, a major tri-services drill has taken place using new technologies, all indigenous technologies. And lastly, the biggest Atmanirbhar message that we got was the women's cricket team winning the World Cup on Sunday with an Indian coach. So it's been a great week, a great Sunday, a great couple of days for India. I stand before you not just as an industrialist, but as someone who has walked the factory floors, seen the pulse of innovation, and felt the urgency of transformation. We are the first Indian multinational in India. Not many people may know that. But this is what we are. Very nationalistic, very driven by Indian technology, very driven by Atmanirbhar mission. Not long ago, an incident brought into sharp focus the critical importance of technological sovereignty. Maybe many of you don't know about this. A reminder that in today's interconnected world, control over technology is as vital as control over territory. A few years ago, we discovered, actually it was just 2-3 years ago, we discovered that the humble attendance machines in our government offices, those little devices we barely ever noticed, were quietly sending back data to China because they had all Chinese chips. Every CCTV camera on our street was made in China. Every phone had chips made in China. And many of these chips are double stamped in Singapore to show that they are made in Singapore. Every drone in our sky has chips made in China. Foreign made, foreign control. That was a wake-up call, a reminder that sovereignty in the 21st century isn't just about borders, it's about bytes, chips, and codes. And yet, in this moment of uncertainty and vulnerability, we see opportunities. India today stands at the cusp of transformation. We aspire to grow our economy from $4 trillion to between $30 to $35 trillion. That's the whole ambition of the whole Viksit Bharat program by 2047, which is not very far away. It's just 22 years away. But this journey cannot be powered by services alone, especially when 60% of our economy today depends on services. which limits our ability to build scalable, value-added manufacturing and a products nation. That was the theme of yesterday's discussions with the Honorable Prime Minister. To truly transform, India must become a products nation, one that designs, one that develops and manufactures its own technology. Just like our cricket team or this big satellite that was launched in the biggest launch vehicle by ISRO. Unfortunately, there remains a widespread misunderstanding about Make in India. Nitin mentioned about the Make in India in 2014. Make in India has often been reduced to mere assembly, where imported kits are simply put together, offering little value addition. In contrast, Made in India demands a full stack capability, indigenous design, indigenous IP creation, and an end-to-end manufacturing without the shift. India risks remaining a service-led economy, unable to build the resilient, innovation-driven industrial base required to be a global leader. The Honorable Prime Minister's announcement yesterday of 1 lakh crore RDI fund is a bold step in this direction. For the first time, we are seeing public capital flow into private innovation. This entire fund is for the private sector, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just funding. It's a fuel for ambition. It's a signal for our startups, our scientists, and our engineers saying the nation is telling them that we believe in you. But belief alone is not enough. We need a mind shift change. We must stop being content with assembling kits from abroad. Screwdriver technology will not make us a global power. We must design our own chips, build our own systems, and create our own platforms. Whether it's semiconductors, drones, or core defense hardware like guns, aircraft, submarines, India must lead in designing and manufacturing these technologies, not just assembling. And we need to do this smartly. Let's identify 20 critical systems we need. Break them down into subsystems, design the chips, and only then close the import doors. Strategic autonomy is not about isolation. It's about intelligent self-reliance. We also need to rethink how we support our startups. Today, a young company with a breakthrough in defense products is asked to furnish a bank guarantee almost equivalent to the order it receives. That's not encouragement. That's discouragement. We must create credit support, reform ESOP taxation, and build a nurturing ecosystem where innovation thrives. And finally, we must look outwards. China's rise with Huawei was no accident. It was the result of a strategic demand aggregation of the state-backed industrial policy. The Chinese government awarded Huawei the entire domestic telecom business, provided massive credit support, and ensured its products were adopted across the public and private sectors. This created a robust home market, enabling Huawei to scale rapidly, invest in R&D, and become globally competitive. We have to replicate this model across its defense and strategic technology sectors. We have the talent, we have the trust of global markets, and most importantly, we have a large domestic demand base. By aggregating government procurement and channelizing it to Indian companies, we can empower them to scale, innovate, and export. Let's give the world an Indian product that they can rely on, secure, sovereign, and build for global leadership. Let me leave you with this thought. When we began our journey in Bharat Forge, I started working almost 53 years ago, in 1972. We didn't have billions in the bank or global partnerships tied up. What we had was belief. Belief in our people, in our engineering, and in India's potential. From a modest forging unit, we built one of the world's most respected defense and engineering enterprise. We made that possible because we had aspirations. As I often say, in the long run, aspiration is greater than resources. If you dare to dream big, the resources will find their way to you. We need a major mindset change, belief that we can design and make in India products with Indian IP. This true meaning of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a clarion call that has echoed and raised the emotional quotient of almost 1 billion people. No better time to achieve this than today. India's defense future will not be written in policy papers alone. It will be written in labs, in startups, in factories, and in the hearts of those who dare to dream. Let's build that future together. Jai Hind.